Hello, everybody, and welcome here to my talk. Now you are, I am the biggest fan of you because you were interested in this talk, and I would like to thank you also to creative team to to let me be here and enjoy this creative experience. Also, I'm Albert Barba. I'm a lead animator at Ilion Animation Studios in Madrid, Spain. And I'm here to talk about animals, about pets, and how to get furs and feathers to behave like an animal. Not you, of course, neither me, because it wouldn't be that funny. But yeah, I'm talking about animation. So the question here is how we as an audience connect with CG characters, especially with animal characters, because it's especially there are a lot of things that come implicitly on human characters and that we complete connect with. But sometimes this type of connection comes from an animal. So we're gonna talk about this. And when this happens, when you feel a connection with the CG character, is that something was well done from a lot of people working together, and the mission was accomplished. So it's really funny creating animal characters because you learn from animal behavior, and then over over the top of the animal behavior, we can create human behavior. So the combination between both, it's really fun, and the result it's great. So I hope you enjoy this journey of discovery as much as I did while I was working with these little pets. Also, I hope you enjoy my Spanish accent. Hope you don't mind. And yeah, this is my first talk in English, so hope you don't mind. I'm gonna just check from time to time my laptop because I just want you to bring all the messages. And yeah, I think that's all. I'll be happy also to answer you any question if you want to stop me. I'll be glad to answer. So yeah, before starting about talking about animation, you'll wonder who I am. Well, I prefer showing what I've been doing since I started in animation like 9 years ago. It defines much better what I do. Thank you. Okay, I believe we'll see a lot of interesting stuff today. I hope you like it. And well, at least this is my goal. First of all, you must be aware this is just my point of view. This is something personal that I had the chance to learn during many years in this industry. Some other animators probably differ from what I say, but at the end, all this experience, all this information you'll hear from me is extracted from my own experience, conversations with other colleagues, and advice from a lot of talented people. So, bringing to life CG characters is not an easy task. Actually, it's hard, but I love it, and the process itself can be amazing. This process involves a lot of talented people, people from different departments working hard together, from the script, going to character design, 3D modeling, until it's time for animation. And once all the previous steps are done, the animation department will be responsible for gathering all the information and create beautiful characters in motion. So let's take a look at this. Everything starts here. I mean, this is a simplified version, of course. I'm not gonna talk about all the stuff in animation because it could take a lot of time. But some script writers start with a big idea of a script, and with some special characters, they create, of course, villains, they create heroes, and they try to connect them according to a plot. So this is the first part, and then there are other people working together. Once the script is done or barely finished, character design department starts creating different proposals for each character, according always to the director vision, trying to look for the perfect combination between visuals and personality and character appealing. On the other hand, there is another bunch of people trying to find the best actor or actresses that fits perfectly with the character regarding his personality, voice tone, or whatever the aspects they are looking for. The casting will be the way to find this person. So after they record the voice for each scene with the selected person, we receive this footage. And sometimes it's really cool because we receive also the video, so we can check what's the character, or in this case, what's the actor acting in front of camera while he's recording the voice. So we have more references in this case to, well, to check what's going on the character. And at best, you get the director notes directly from him. And at the end, we have all this information. So coming from the recording sessions, from the director, for sure, and also from the layout guys who are responsible of creating the whole rough composition in the scene. So our mission is to create believable characters that connect somehow with the audience. Easy peasy? No, it's really hard, but the process is really beautiful. We are not talking exclusively about human characters. We are talking about animals, and this is like another level of difficulty. So here comes the adventure. I don't know if many of you are already in this industry. You could raise your hand. Okay, some of them. There are many. Okay, cool. And others who probably are students waiting for the opportunity to get inside of the industry. Okay, everybody's professional here. I can see that. Okay, so probably what I've been talking here for you guys, you already know it. But having time to work in pre-production gives you a beautiful chance to be more engaged with characters and create their own personalities. And if you get into a project when you are in a production, full production, you'll have to discover the characters and their mannerisms while the process of creating a shot. So the difference between both is just the time you have to practice and explore how the characters behave. Also, you might have the chance or not to get used to the rig and improve it with a rigger. Sometimes the animal rigs are quite difficult to work with them, mostly at the beginning. So it's really important that if the rig has some limits, it's better you have the experience or the knowledge to move the character in good conditions, especially in animal stuff, because it plays in your favor. When the rig does not allow you to do certain things, you must know how to make it believable. So yeah, whether you are in pre-production or directly in full production, the process is still the same. So let's take a look at how many things we need to know before creating a full CG believable animal character. There's a lot, okay? Don't panic. This is just a few of the things that we used to know in animation, but these ones, especially these ones, are related just to animal behavior and to pets. So we're gonna go deeper in a few seconds. First things first, the animation style. What type of animation are we heading to? Whether we aim into a realistic animation or into a cartoonish style, the animation will be similar, but some details will make a big difference between styles. So for example, realistic animation stick to real movements according to real physics, with timing that is almost close to what we perceive in real life. And in this case, the animation will be smoother and with less exaggeration. There are other cases where, for example, in the majority of BFX movies, you can also see imaginary characters, but always behaving in real atmospheric conditions and pretending to make you believe that what you see is totally real. And then we have the other, cartoony style. It's completely different, right? Not so different. There are many things that are in common, but the story is believable. In a way, you almost feel everything is alive. They don't pretend to make you feel what you see is totally real. Instead, they let you stay in that imaginary state of mind where everything is possible, and you just, you just believe it. I could see this like 3,000 times. It's really cool. So choosing a cartoony style gives you a wider range of possibilities in animation. You'll be able to add all the principles of animation in order to make a character not real, make it not real but believable. And this gives you the chance to explore beyond limits of reality. Trying to combine lots of techniques, mixing crazy ideas like this one. And in some cases, and depending on the nature of the project, realistic style uses sometimes cartoony practices to push even further the animation. And sometimes works vice versa. So for example, this is Sweet Pea. This is the bird in The Secret Life of Pets. And this character was meant to be like another character in The Secret Life of Pets. Actually, he had the voice, and he was talking in the movie, like a big voice like this. And at the end, they decided to change it and make him like more a real bird, and it was a wise decision because it makes more contrast. So here's another example. We are in a cartoony movie using probably a realistic style on this character. So in a cartoony animation feature film, you have more range of possibilities. And mastery. Mastery is why we are here, right? So as an animator, it's really important to learn from everything that surrounds you and pay attention to it. Especially when you animate animals, you need to carefully learn the physicality of the animal body. And even though it's not really necessary that you remember each animal moves, it helps, but it's not necessary. The important thing is that when the time comes, you have to master each movement technique, so you can apply it at this moment. So if I have to be sincere with you, if I had to animate a pet right now, I mean, I don't remember all the stuff. So I have to relearn what I've been doing for many years. The thing is, you have to specialize when the time comes. And if some of you are animators or want to become one of them, mastery will lead to you to do even more solid complex shots. After that, probably better and more difficult challenges will come to you until you finally get a top job opportunity. So inspiration in animation comes from all artistic fields. So learning from animal cycles, about weight, probably drawings, slow motion videos, rhythm, music, and any kind of information is really important. You can extract from everything, from reality or even art. So on top of that, if you have learned a lot, you'll be smart enough to add, if you are an animator, to add this 5% more of a value that will be unexpected for the audience. And thanks to all that knowledge, this will make your stuff unique. So voice casting, as we already said, as you probably expect, the voice casting is a big thing in the process and has much influence on the creation of the characters. They normally look for actors that fit with the same personality or characteristics for the CG character. And depending on the budget, we get different types of voices. Um, for sure, if the budget is really high, we get super interesting footage, and we get really inspired by the people they are recording. But sometimes it doesn't work like this, and the budget is lower. But then in animation, we can push a little bit the scene, and the final result it always helps. So, in the case of Snowball or Max, they chose stand-up comedians, and to make the character super fun and with lots of charisma. For me, it was a master move, and the variety of voice ranges we received was simply amazing, making our job much funnier, inspiring, and interesting for sure. And Kevin Hart simply smashed it. Probably his own personality did the rest, and probably the speed, the rhythm, the texture of the voice, and even the tone helps you to find out the right attitude for the character. And personality. I truly believe that the success of The Secret Life of Pets 1 and 2, I have to say, I think I haven't said, I worked on that movie also, and for the first and the second one. The second one, it was like 3 or 4 months just. But yeah, I truly believe the success of the first movie is about personality, because the characters are not dumb characters. I mean, they think, of course, they react, and every each of them has some kind of personal goal in the story. So for me, the secret was finding the perfect personality for each character, depending on the breed and the animal typology. So personality in CG cartoon animal is normally defined by two different parts. So the first part is the one that comes defined by the story and by the director, and that is intrinsic in the character by itself. And the second part comes from the animal itself. So I mean, we humans tend to associate different tags or moods to different animals depending on their behavior. For example, let's talk about Snowball. As I said, Kevin Hart did a really good job, was really responsible for the success of this character. From my point of view, this rabbit has become one of the more charismatic CG characters of all time. For me, it's my point of view. And he's a villain in the first movie. So despite that, he has a beautiful mix of personality and charisma. And again, they did a great job grabbing some animal traits and converting them into personality. This is a perfect example. So these are the kind of video references we use as animators to check personality and animal behaviors. Rabbits normally seem to be like electric on their moves, and they chew constantly. We could probably read this aspect like having a nervous tick for a character, for example, like being always in alert mode. So this is what we are looking for always. Animal traits that remit us to certain human behaviors. And also, adding an extra layer of personality to Snowball makes him a great character. Like pretending him to be like a rock star, always. And always demanding attention, but also having some weaknesses. So understanding also the cause of his evilness makes the audience having a real connection with him. That's why Snowball becomes a real hero in the second movie, if you have watched it. You can see that. He's a real superhero, and he deserves it. And come on, he's super good. Uh, or a very charismatic character from another animated movie. Uh, you don't know, I don't know if you remember Flash, the sloth that appears in Zootopia. Okay, this is the character. Okay, this is just a quick example. Uh, but they capture perfectly the personality using his slow response body movement. So they turned him into a super chill character, good guy, always happy, with good attitude, and super slow movements. So I bet you remember that funny scene in Zootopia. I don't have to say anything. You remember it. So you have a perfect mix of animal behavior and personality here. On top of that, if you add some contrast, makes the character even more solid and funny. Just a little detail, did you know that Flash was the fastest sloth in the movie? So, and it's called Flash, come on. Okay, so yeah, the name is a hint. So to sum up, trying to find a defined personality to the animals is a combination of some factors. It's a mix of adding animal behavior that makes the audience connect with reality, adding some human mannerisms depending on his animal attitude, and finding out animal traits that connect directly with the human behavior. So here comes animal behaving. Let's take a look at this. That's beautiful. She's Chloe. I adore this character. So everybody loves animals, right? Everybody in his life has had this chance to share lots of moments with a family pet, probably, or from a cat, from the neighbor. Uh, but yeah, you probably remember that day that the cat sneaked out into your house during the night and started pushing and throwing things around to the ground. So you were totally scared, and you the infiltrator was just a cat. It was a scared cat like you. So you experience these little things from animal behaviors, and this kind of experience sticks in your mind forever. Like a cat annoying you early in the morning while Chloe, while you are still asleep. Oh, so you are used to comprehend different animal behaviors coming from different animals or breeds through the experience of life. These little things are super important, are the details that they look for in an animal character, especially in secondary animation, because it's where you push further even the richness of the animation. So those things totally identify the naturality of animal behavior. If you study them, if you have fun with pets and just explore how they react to certain things, you'll get beautiful information. But wait, don't be cruel with with the animals. Just have fun with them. Be nice. You can have fun, but taking care of them. Do not annoy them because, especially cats, this is the voice of experience. I have scars, so yeah, just play nicely with them. So yeah, Pinterest is there, YouTube is there. There are many platforms out there on the internet, and a lot of pet videos are available. So have you ever seen Simon's cat animation on the internet? You know, they're really funny. So these are hilarious. The author captured perfectly the behavior of his own cat and started creating really nice hand-drawn animations. And you can easily detect the main animal traits on the character. So probably curiosity, egoism, or passivity. So let's check this out. It's really cool. It's just a little episode of Simon's Cat. I'm not gonna play it the 2 minutes and a half of the episode, but just check just a little bit. Okay, and it goes on and on and on and on. So you'll probably know how this ends up, I guess. Everything destroyed, and the cat asking and demanding some food like a primitive human, like doing like this. But yeah, we could show a lot of animations, but time time is short. All this information, wherever it comes from, is perfect to learn animal behaving, and also to spend hours and hours watching cat annoying humans. This is the risky part while watching some video references. You get lost. I believe you really know what I mean. So there are some cases where it's really hard to find a clean behavior to a specific animal. So most of all, when the animal is not that well known, or it's difficult to get clear personality out of his behavior. So sometimes we use different techniques. In those cases, sometimes we use animal behaviors from others that seem to be close enough to its breed or the same are close to the animal, and we adapt this behavior into the other. So the result tends to be weird and funny at the same time, but sometimes it works, sometimes not, but it's another technique. And then we have human behaving. As I mentioned before, you must have a big knowledge of animal behaving, weight and body mechanics for sure. But if you want to make sure this pet has real feelings and reacts because of the thoughts he has, you must know how a human being also reacts, thinks, and also acts. So you need to empathize with people, trying to understand their problems, giving reasons to their actions. This is really important. And studying human behavior gives you several beautiful things. You turn into a more open-minded person, more comprehensive with human vulnerabilities, and creating even more connections with the people that surround you. So in the end, it gives you two big things. First, and I'm gonna be epic with this, it makes you a much better person, period. It's like this. And secondly, a better animator. I don't know which one is more epic, uh, but yeah, I believe it's true. Because what really matters for the audience in CG character is to really understand the needs, the strengths, and even the weaknesses of the personality. This creates a link between a character and the audience. That's why sometimes the audience sympathizes with some villains, because despite their evil actions, they partly understand what brings to him or her acting this way or the other. So human behaving really matters in animation, of course, but even in animals. While I was animating pets at Elimination McGuff, I recall I was using a technique while I was recording myself doing like animal behaviors. And I was trying to grab my hands on my back because I wanted to feel how we naturally move the head and the chest. And this is a way to empathize the actions and the intentions. This is a part of human behaving, and it really helped me out on my shots. And this brings me to the next part, animation techniques. Here comes, here comes some other big questions. After we gather all the information, how we technically move the characters. And how easy or not is the process depending on the shot. And we are not getting crazy animating just 1 or 2 seconds per week. Yeah, for sure. It's, it's crazy. But yeah, we are really patient on this. And being an animator, as time passes by, you get more and more experience in animation. We learn from a lot of people, from different styles, and even from different job conditions. Uh, you learn to work as fast as you can without losing attention to what really matters, focusing on important things and discarding others. And at the end, you start taking all the techniques you feel comfortable with. And depending on the the type of the shot you are working on, you try using them efficiently. So I could talk about a lot of animation principles, sorry, lots of techniques, but as long as I know this talk is just for 1 hour, it would take like 2 days, probably. So I'm gonna talk about 4 different techniques I use for Max, Duke, and the other characters. I feel that are really important. So the bouncing ball, I guess, does it sound familiar for you? It's one of the yeah, main techniques or main rules. We start studying when we start in animation. As simple as animating a ball bouncing around. This exercise includes several principles in animation. Squash, stretch, is in, is out. There are arcs, timing, appealing. Well, a bouncing ball is not that appealing, but if we mix together all the principles, for sure it gets appealing. So the timing and spacing are crucial. They gives us the weight, and the gravity, the speed in movement. So for example, in a body mechanic shot, this technique simplifies a lot my life. Because it doesn't matter if I have an acting layer over it, but it gives me fast, a lot of rhythm, texture, and timing in the shot. So before animating the rig, what I do is I create a simple rig, 2 balls probably, and yeah, together and moving independently. We can create the body moving around, making him stop, waiting, then accelerating and bouncing like a ball. But at the end, we're gonna touch this animation to a real rig, like a dog. So just think for a second all what I've told you about the bouncing ball, and I'm gonna show you something. So you have already seen this shot. So for example, depending on how big is the character, the jump is probably too slow or more slow or even faster, but you can see the bouncing ball there. I use this technique on probably 4 of the 6 characters here. And it was really easy at the beginning because it sets the rhythm, and it's super easy for me. And it's a good way to start a body mechanic shot. So in the end, it's really nice. It's a really nice way to show the rhythm of the shot to the director or to the animation supervisor, and they will completely get, or not, hope so, the intention of the shot. So this lets us set the base of the shot and start with a more solid idea. More changes may come later because in animation you never know, but from my experience, this is a really smart technique to start showing fast. Another question here is how animals behave like humans without losing their animal traits. So the answer is related to all the things I'm talking here today, but I learned a technique during that time at Elimination McGuff that blew my mind and helped me to answer this question. And it's head and chest lead the action, always. When a quadruped or another non-biped animal acts in a scene, the eyes, head, and chest must lead the action and the acting. Why? Well, because they barely use their hands to support what they say. A dog has four limbs touching the ground, and the bone structure is completely different. So we must focus on those parts of the body that have more potential to use for body language. We humans used to use the head to empathize what we say. And as I already told you, let the head lead the intention and the movement is really important. And then the eyes will support the rest, while the chest follows. This is a big rule. This is another shot I did for The Secret Life of Pets. Here we can see with the Duke acting. Actually, it's me acting out all the shot. If you could see the reference, would be funny to see because it's the same. But yeah, here we can see Max, for example. He's trying to get rid of Duke. He's really scared. And I had to be focused just on the performance. So I was trying to move the body, going backwards, sorry. And I just forgot about the context. So I was just focusing on the performance. And here is the same. I was moving Duke going forward and just thinking about how to perform, how to use the head, and how to not lose the eye intention. So this is just an internal process for you, and you mustn't show this to the director at this stage for sure, mandatory, unless you want to get fired. Just kidding, but you must show a more advanced process later on. This technique helped me out very much. It made me realize how important is the body language in communication without saying a word. So, and we can apply it to the rest of the characters. Probably to those characters with no limbs. If you have a snake, probably in your scene, the best way to push even farther the acting is using probably the tail as an external limb. So there are ways and ways to create an extra layer of interest. And on top of that, as I said, the eyebrows and face expressions will be the key to support the whole acting in the shot. So another good principle here is less is more. Probably you already heard about this. Keep it as simple as you can. So actually, this is a rule we try to apply not only to animals, but to overall in animation. Remember that we are always talking about cartoony style. If we were talking about realistic animation, it would be kind of different because we are focused on complexity at some times and details. So we are talking about making everything believable through simplicity. Even knowing that animal behaviors are movements that tend to be complex for us, we must simplify the essence of the action. Because on top of that, if the animal character needs to act out a line of a dialogue, the rest must be simplified to clarify and understand the meaning of the intention. So it's very important, even in expressions, to hit what's really necessary in the shot. And those final details. It is not my intention, of course, to give you a master class of animation because it took a lot of time. But yeah, I think it's important to mention that nothing of this works at its maximum if you don't care, from my point of view, at these next points. The first one is rhythm and texture. Having the ability to play efficiently with these two terms will push the animation up into another level. And rhythm is like music. The audience is used to understand and capture rhythm in everything. They expect this because they are always looking for known patterns. And this happens also in music. If you hit the beats of the animation of a shot in a certain way, you'll make the audience flow with the character and also with the story. If not, of course, they will get bored. And yeah, then we have texture. That means contrast in movements, having a different range of action, variety in the same shot, and playing with different speeds. This creates a much more interesting scene to watch. And then we have cuteness and beauty. And for sure, if I had to choose something out of the rest of the things, this is for me what really matters. And because in animation can be learned by anyone because practicing is the key, and while practicing you learn. But there's something harder to achieve. I can clearly identify animations that are really good from those which incredibly stand out. So, and it's because of the perception of the animator behind. Some animators have the ability to perceive beauty, not only in shapes, poses, and faces, but also in rhythm, texture, or even stillness. So after the years, you can finally learn how to do something close to that, but others born with that talent inside. So they just know how to perceive beauty while they are creating. And in the end, if you get the majority of the things I've already said in the shot, you'll have probably success in the animation, probably in pet animation. So the demanding audience will receive what they probably expect from a CG character, even without knowing, especially from an animal character. And if you have done a nice job, the audience will enjoy all the characters, even the villains, because they will feel some kind of empathy with them. So mission accomplished, not only because of the animation team, because we are just another part of the whole assembly. The job is really done when the final result is truly brilliant. When all the rest of the departments, like lighting, texturing, or character effects, compositing effects, even editing, and along etc. take place and put their big talent on it. So, and this is the key, working as a team with the talent of all the people and take for granted they are a lot. While I was working at Elimination McGuff, I believe we were like 800 people, like working in 3 movies. It was crazy, but probably 300 people in a movie. So all these people are achieving the same goal, making the audience react and feel. So this is what we pursue, and whatever the feeling is. And this is it. Nothing more to say in terms of animation, but I would like to use these final minutes for some pieces of advice that probably you want to get, because when I always go to a talk, I always expect some inspirational quotes that I can bring with me and probably keeps me up in creativity. So I'm not used to give talks in public, but I would like to take this opportunity to share with you some key moral lessons I find really important. So it comes from my experience, some anecdotes I had in the past. And yeah, if you don't mind, I'm gonna read it because I want you to get the message really straight and really clear. So, creating animated movies, as you probably well know, it's not an easy task. Creating beauty and happiness for the audience sometimes needs a lot of effort, a lot of hours, moments of angriness, patience, frustration, etc. Like in any artistic career, your job is totally related to your state of mind and mood. If you feel bad, if you feel you have problems at home, if you feel sad, of course, your job will be affected. But dealing with emotions while creating emotion is a really big thing. So that's why it's really important for you to learn to stay in balance. So passion is the key in this industry to keep up your motivation up. I had a lot of moments where I felt like the worst animator ever in the industry. Yeah, I'm very dramatic. But for a while, I was totally broken and lost. And after I end up wiser and much stronger. But passion and love always help me to overcome anything. So you need to see your work with some perspective and space and not judging you that hard. It's unhealthy. And why I'm telling you that? Because I don't want you to fall into the same mistake I did. During some time, I suffered a lot while trying to give my best in my job. And I was confused because I was suffering while doing something I was loving. So why? How I ended up like this? Well, I was confusing passion for self-pressure. And of course, we have to deal with pressure at work. It's also our job. But the key is to create a balance between the real pressure and our need to give our best. So you must always find a balance because if not, you're at risk to be consumed by your ego and your willingness to do your best at any cost. Of course, this ego and self-commitment pushes you into higher challenges, higher levels, but you have to be careful. At what price? So there's a moment you must stop and think. So here's what I want to share with you guys. Work with passion and love what you do. Enjoy life out of your job. Separate both things. Find your balance. The work that you do won't define who you really are. First, because you'll probably always be remembered in life by how much love you've given to others, but not by how much a hard worker you've been. So take it easy, be curious, learn from everything, enjoy, be kind, be respectful, spread love to everybody and things, and you'll end up being not only a better animator, but a much happier person. Thank you, guys.